So I want to show you this tool that will help you project your HIP scores in the early days of the stay for your resident so that you'll have a heads up about areas that you might be able to get documentation and increase your reimbursement. The first question this is going to ask you is if you're urban or rural, and this is something you'll know because you work in that facility and you know how you are on their Medicaid billing, Medicare billing. It goes right into the PTOT questions that you have to answer. In this case, it's the ADL scores. And so you're going to go through, and based on the documentation the first 2 or 3 days, you're able to fill this out. So you will have done some review before you get to this tool. And you're just very quickly going to answer your questions. The tool will do all the calculations behind the scenes to calculate your ADL score. In this case, this patient would come out of 10.5 for the PTOT category. That's 1/2 of what you need to know to get your score for the PTOT side. The only other thing you need to know is which category that your actually primary diagnosis is falling into. In this case, let's say the patient had pneumonia. That would firmly fall into medical management. You would click that. And you're actually done with PT within those 10 or so clicks. The next, it goes right into the ST questions, and all it's asking is the primary diagnosis acute neuro? It was not in this case, so we don't have to do anything there. Do they have one SLP comorbidity? This is your list of SLP comorbidities right here. You just have to verify that they have one. They can have 2, 3, or 4 or more. It doesn't matter as long as they have one. So if they're having trouble getting their word choice, there it is. I can say yes. And then is there a cognitive impairment exists? This is going to be based off your BIMS assessment that you had to do. And so if your BIM score shows cognitive impairment, you're just simply going to say yes and move on. And then we move into the last piece of the PTSD is, do they have a mechanically altered diet or swallowing disorder? Very quick answer, either or both. And we're actually done at that point. Now we move into the nursing one. The nursing ADL score uses some of the same components of the PTOT. So the only question you have left to answer to get this score is the toileting hygiene. And once you answer that, that's going to be the score for the nursing ADL. So one click gets you there. And then it's going to walk you through the pieces of getting the nursing rug level. And you simply answer the questions. And when you get to the place it actually finds the score they're going to be, it stops. So in this case, I just have to validate if they have or don't have this. As soon as I say they don't, it moves me into the next level, which would fall to special care high. And in this case, we don't have COPD with shortness of flying fat or anything like that. So I'm going to go on here, none of the above. Now we're in special care low. So what I'm looking for is, probably my respiratory things. So I don't have it there yet. I'm not at my pneumonia. And now I'm down to clinically complex services. I still don't have anything. So it keeps tracking me down. And now I'm down to the point where we're in cognitive behavioral. Well, let's say this person did have some cognitive impairment. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And the very last piece is if they're on restorative or not. So, and it's rare that you would actually work through all of those levels with a skilled patient. It's normally going to come out higher with the oxygen or something like that. But I wanted to take you through all the steps to show you. So the very last bucket or last component of getting your 4-letter HIP score is the NTA, non-therapy ancillaries. And here you're just actually going to say yes to anything that exists. So if they have, let's say this patient did have asthma, I'll click on my yes for that. And I'm just going to work through it. Now the top half here has all the things that are likely to be. And then the other conditions, these may be a little more rare, but still deserve to be reviewed. And so you'd go through and check on the things that are relatable here. And let's say this person also has a intractable epilepsy. And so I ended up with 3 NTA points. When I say next, the last piece is just say what kind of assessment I'm doing. And so I'm just doing my normal 5-day. And so here I get my score. This patient would come out of KHD1, and this is the generalized dollar rate across the country. And that's what they will be making on a daily rate. Once you're finished with that, if you sign in and log in with your user ID, you do have a dashboard. And it will remember for you each of these that you've done. There's no HIPAA issues here. It just keeps a track of a number. So on your side, you can log who that number is. And if you do need to come back to this to look at it or to make a change, you can.